In Seo Yun High School, their teacher discusses natural disasters. In the back of the room, the blonde felt like throwing up after hearing his words. The guy next to him showed him a video uploaded a few days ago. The recording is surprisingly up close and high-res. Both looked amazed while watching a person beat down a monster easily. They looked at the comments with varying statements about the event and wondered where the monsters actually came from. Just as their teacher notices them, a disaster alert bursts out in their class. It was from the Inhuman alert system, and an Inhuman was spotted in the area of Incheon. The alert system then cancels their class and tells the students and faculty to go home immediately. Their teacher tells them to calm down and not push themselves as they leave the area. After hearing the alert, the girl looked used to it since the same event had already happened 3 times and now it was increasing. The girl looks to her right and sees his classmate dozing off even after the alert system told them to go home already. She tries to wake him up at the same time he gets a call from his friend Jory. He tells Lim Kong to get his earpiece and wait for his exact coordinates at Incheon Port. After the call, Kong looks back at his classmate and wonders why she was looking at him. The girl thought he was just sleeping, then she told him to go home. After she leaves, he eventually gets up and picks up his bag. After looking into his bag, he then looks around him before going to the bathroom and changing outfits. At the Incheon port, a truck driver is seen throttling his engine and is about to ram the Inhuman. The driver is shocked to see that the Inhuman just stood there unfazed after receiving full force from the truck. The fatty beast then responds as it raises its hand and crushes the truck with no sweat. From the distance, a man peeks over at the monster after seeing the truck completely destroyed. Beside him, a whining person was at his ends, thinking it was the end for them. He then tells the crybaby to man up and hide until the military arrives. But unfortunately, the Inhumans have already found them behind the container. Back at the school bathroom, Jory gives Kong an update, saying the situation's gotten worse and that he needs to hurry while he gives him the coordinates. After Kong wears his earpiece and hides his bag properly, he goes to the window, and Jory tells him that he just has to run in the direction he's going to give him. He then jumps off and races to the port. Going back to the port, after being spotted by the fatty, the old man wanted to challenge it, but he was instantly knocked out with just a single punch. As for the other guy, he was smacked clean in the face and immediately died. After that, the Inhuman spots another person and quickly jumps to him and grabs him by the head. He is then thrown off to the side and receives a concussion. The man looked in fear as he was about to die at its hands. But just then, a wrench came out of nowhere and hit the Inhuman's head. It then looks behind it to see that another guy has appeared on the scene. In the distance, Kong is seen dashing through the city and into the mountains. Jory gives him an update, saying the special task force is on its way to the port as well and that he should be wary of the Inhuman's unknown strength. Kong then tells him that he can see the port and is about to arrive soon. At the port, the boss shouts to his employee, Mr. On, to take his chance and run away as he distracts the monster by staring at it. The crybaby hesitated for a moment and thought everyone had already left the area. As both the boss and the monster kept staring at each other, he just stood there, thinking that he couldn't bring himself to leave the man behind and run off. He accepted his fate and hoped that his family would forgive him. In a surprising turn of events, the Inhuman suddenly turns and walks away, which makes the boss think that it's going to leave them. But then it grabbed the container beside it and proceeded to throw it at him. The boss had no time to react as he watched the container get thrown at him with no hope of escape. But just before it could hit him, Kong finally arrives and jump kicks the container away. The boss and Mr. On were left speechless after seeing that their hero had arrived to save them. The Inhuman was also surprised to see the Superhuman, as both are expected to finally have a competent battle. Kong has arrived to protect the workers against the Inhuman. He asks Jory if he should talk to the Inhuman. Jory convinces him to do so, but the chances are pretty low for them to understand. Jory has reminded Kong in the past that he should always talk to the Inhumans, even if they're a bloodthirsty species, because if they're bound to find an intelligent Inhuman, they will find the answers that they're looking for. Kong talks to the Inhuman to see if the creature understands what it's saying. It replies gibberish words and suddenly screams. The Inhuman suddenly uses a double axe handle move to hit Kong. He easily dodges the attack, Then the creature sneakily uses another attack to hit Kong while he's in midair, which caught him off guard and got him hit and thrown against the ship container. Kong leaps back to his original position, making it seem like he sustained no damage. Complementing the creature's agile movements, a helicopter with a news reporter inside can be seen above Incheon port. They are amazed that they can see the superhuman white cap in the flesh. While stalling for time, the Inhuman Subjugation Special Task Force arrives at the scene. They stand behind Kong, preparing their weapons just in case the Inhuman decides to do something. The soldier questions his superior about the choices since he thinks that capturing Inhumans is an easy feat. The superior replies that Inhumans are hiding their true powers and they can't currently capture them with their military technology, which is why they leave these kinds of situations to a superhuman such as White Cap. In his intel, White Cap's power can easily exceed the military's firepower. The same goes for the Inhuman too. They are currently betting everything on Kong to defeat the Inhuman. The soldier asks why they are even there in the first place if the superhuman can handle it. It's because they're hiding a secret weapon inside their truck just in case everything goes wrong. The news is currently being broadcast in a building, showing White Cap fighting against the Inhuman. They don't know his true identity, but they're sure that he is fighting for everyone's protection. The Inhuman chases Kong and almost gets him by a millisecond. Kong leaps straight down to him to get a massive strike, but the Inhuman takes out its tongue and slaps his chin, causing him to lose balance in midair. The Inhuman grabs his ankle and smashes Kong across the ground. Both Jory and the soldier were worried about Kong. The superior can't do anything since they're at the location to help White Cap without getting in his way. So they start Plan B. A person jumps outside the truck and is revealed to be a soldier with robotic parts. He steadily takes aim and shoots the bullet at the Inhuman, and it hits the Inhuman right in the head. But it wasn't enough since it just regenerated the damage from the shot it took. After only grazing the Inhuman's head, the fatty stood back up and was shot another time by the cyborg. Shot by shot, the Inhuman simply walked to him menacingly, as if the bullets didn't even sting at all. The two suddenly stopped and heard a rumble in the container. Kong woke up and was glad he wasn't thrown all the way into the ocean.
Oh my gosh!
Jory got worried for a second there. He told Kong that this Inhuman is just another one of those who lack the ability to communicate or communicate without any intention at all. Kong then had no choice but to crush the Inhuman with all his strength. And in a blink of an eye, Kong uses his super speed to teleport in front of the Inhuman and obliterates its face using his powerful kick. He then goes to grab it from the mouth and begins to slam it into the ground with all his might. The slam was so powerful that it created an earthquake and pushed everything back into the perimeter. After sticking its entire body into the ground, everyone around the port and those who were watching were left speechless. But just then, the Inhuman tried to pick itself back up, but it failed and died miserably. Jory was worried for a moment and asked if the monster was really dead. Even if it did, Kong would just have to beat it down again. After the fight, a man and his partner can be seen spectating them from a distance. The man doubts that Kong exerted all his strength in the fight, so he jumps down to the scene and meets Kong face to face. Kong turns around and sees an emo monk make the entrance. The news reporter was shocked to see a person boldly appear in front of White Cap. People around the country are confused about the current situation. The superior tells his soldiers to prepare just in case something unexpected happens, and the swaggy emo monk compliments his fighting style, which seems to be like the superhero from the TV show Ketchup Man. Kong felt bashful, thinking he was just given a compliment. Jory tells him to keep his composure and ask his real identity. He asks the emo monk, but his mind is still above the clouds. Jory thinks that the person is dangerous and could pose a threat to Kong. The emo monk keeps a close eye on White Cap since he always appears, regardless of whether there is an inhuman alert. The emo monk reassures Kong that he won't do anything to him. Kong didn't believe his words, and Jory reminded him of that time when Kong got tricked by people in suits acting friendly to him. The emo monk might be a government agent or part of the military that could pose a threat to Kong. The emo monk then asks him a question. What does this world refer to as White Cap? He answers with superhuman, since he is indeed a superhuman. The emo monk responded that he is the same as him and that there are more superhumans around the world that are hiding. Jory knew it but was shocked at the fact that Kang is the only superhuman in Korea since there are more compared to theirs. At the same time, in the United States, we can see Johnny Sins look at the news footage, wondering if the emo monk is Whitecap's stalker. A muscly girl looking at the scene knows the emo monk somewhere. She wants to listen in on their conversation, but they cannot currently. Moving on to Scotland, people are looking at the live news footage in a restaurant. A girl was complaining to her sister that they were running late for Justin Bieber's concert. In Moscow, two men in black suits are also watching the scene. Both of them agree that the emo monk looks like a dangerous person. Back at the port, Kang ends the conversation by telling him that he doesn't care whether he's a superhuman or not, so he asks the emo monk not to follow him anymore. He walks away from the scene, but the emo monk doesn't mind it since he will just meet him at his school. This surprised Kang and Jory with the fact that the emo monk knows he is a student without his mask. The emo monk laughs it off as a joke, and he promises to keep it a secret. At the same time, he wants to pass on a message to Jory, who's talking in Kang's earpiece. He knows the identity of Jory, who is pretending to be an average guy, but in reality he is able to craft technologies that surpass their generation, making him a valuable partner. The emo monk was seriously close to abducting Jory since he is a one-of-a-kind prodigy. He playfully warns Whitecap that he will do something to Jory when he is at school. Kang doesn't like his distasteful jokes and gets serious. Jory warns him not to fight the emo monk, and then he tells the emo monk that if he messes with Jory, he is bound to get messed up. The emo monk also prepares himself to fight Whitecap. The battle starts and Kang dashes towards him. He prepares to punch him but the emo monk stops Kang's punch with both of his palms. He tries to hit him with a back fist, but he misses. The emo monk sits on his arm and tells him that he should not hold back his punches since they're fighting seriously. As the tension in the air reaches its peak, will Kang be able to win his fight against the emo monk? Will he win this fight against him, or will he tell his true goal on why he is approaching him?
Thanks for staying in tune with our manga recap. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for more updates from our content.